Keep the music going this morning.
Are you dancing?
I'm jamming. This is the part of the song that you kind of just get into this groove with.
We always dance when Nina's not here. She likes to, stick to business sometimes. Ready? Go, go, go.
Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop.
We probably should stop.
Oh yeah, it's a Friday mood because it is a Friday on Sunrise Extra. My mind was sort of set this morning, Brenda and Rod, to be done at 7 a.m. So this really does feel like extra this morning.
It is extra.
But we're going to we're going to tackle a light topic, if you will, because we tackle all sorts of issues on Sunrise Extra. And this morning we thought it's Friday, it's the weekend, and the Blazers are back on the court. So maybe we could talk about our hometown basketball team if the viewers are willing to have that discussion with us. And another thing I've noticed on Sunrise Extra, and you can prove me wrong this morning, viewers, I've noticed that when we do talk sports, even when it's about our beloved Blazers, usually it doesn't generate as much response as some of our other topics. So prove me wrong this morning. Hop online, whether you're watching us right now on Facebook or the YouTube page or our Twitter page. We want to hear about why you're excited for the restart of the NBA season, how you think the Blazers will fare during this NBA restart, and broader picture, if you want to go a little deeper, do you think we should be playing professional sports at all right now in this country with all that's still going on? So those are the topics on the table for this morning's Sunrise Extra discussion.
I like that. It's a challenge.
Yeah.
We're looking at you. We want to know what you think. And look, I'm looking at the stream. No comments.
Yeah, never mind that, Brenda. Never mind that. I will say this, and Rod, I think you thought this was pretty interesting as well. We talked about this on the Sunrise TV show. The games, all of the NBA games happening in one location, within that bubble, as they call it, at the Wide World of Sports in Orlando, Florida. So every NBA team is there. They're trying to keep the players as safe as possible, away from other people. And therefore, the broadcasters aren't there either. So the broadcasters for the Blazers will be back here in Portland at Moda Center today, broadcasting a game that's actually happening 3,000 miles away. And we have a fan of the show, a friend of the show, who's a part of that broadcast team. She's Brooke Olzendam. She's been on the show with us many times, usually during the playoffs, to talk about the Blazers' run from year to year. But yesterday, I talked to Brooke and I asked her point blank, how strange is it going to be, Brooke, to broadcast a game that's happening 3,000 miles away? And here's what she said.
It's an interesting situation, but I would do it from here if I could, if that's what was asked of me. Just to be able to cover basketball is what I want to do. So no matter what the circumstances are, we'll do it. But we're just happy basketball is back, and I think we would do it in any way that was asked of us.
So with no fans in the stands, based on what you saw during those scrimmages, are these games going to kind of have that feel of a summertime pickup game between the guys, or is this going to look like an NBA basketball game the way we know and love it?
From what the guys say, they're focused, they're dialed in. Their practices have been fantastic from what coach and the players tell us. And you may have heard Dame's quote, I can't say it right now on this, but there's a word that I can't say, I'll leave it out. But he said, we're not down here to waste our time, so when they get going, I think that they will definitely be focused and dialed in. They've said that from day one. We're here to win games, we're here to make the playoffs, and we're not just here to play a couple games and go home.
There you go, Brooke Olzendam, courtside reporter. I asked Brooke yesterday, how many years have you been doing that job now? And Brooke is in her 4th season.
Love her.
She plans to come back next year, so that will be her 5th season. I said, from now on, we're going to call you long-time courtside reporter, Brooke Olzendam. Hey, Brenda.
We have a comment.
Yes, do you want to read it?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Ryan, so glad you're joining the conversation. Blazers, he predicts, are making the playoffs. They're going to beat the Lakers in the first round and make it to the finals.
Nice. Positivity on the stream. Hey, Brenda, we have a second sports comment. You can read that one too.
Okay, we have Karen. We love our Blazers, and I love watching you guys. I'm very excited to see sports back on. Mwah.
Read that one again, specifically the second sentence.
We love you guys.
Well, here's the deal. Another thing you can do to chime in is to text us. Sure. And we asked for this earlier this morning on the Sunrise TV show. We said, hey, text us a photo of you in your Blazers gear to show your support for the team as they restart the season. And we got this great photo just a moment ago. Literally, this came in at 7:02 a.m. Here's the only thing I ask. If you're going to text us a picture like this, can you please send us a name? This gentleman did send us a name. If we can hang on this picture real quick. Hold on a second. Don't go away from this guy because I have a name for him, I think. There it is. This gentleman, Brenda and Rod, is Steve, and he comes to us from Banzana, Oregon.
Where?
Banzana. Or Bonanza. Thank you, Celeste. I was like, I've never heard of Banzana. Yeah, because it doesn't exist. Bonanza, Oregon, which is still pretty remote, and a lot of people probably don't know where Bonanza, Oregon is. He says Bonanza is the home of the Antlers, and he obviously a big Rip City fan. And then we had this viewer who emailed us, or I should say texted us earlier this morning. And this gentleman is actually a cancer survivor for 3.5 years now. He is a cancer survivor. Josh is his name, obviously a huge Blazers fan, and he said this morning when he sent this photo in, not only does he think the Blazers are going to do great during the restart, he also wanted to thank his wife Camille, his kids, and his doctor at OHSU for helping him get through that cancer treatment. So Josh, thanks for sending in that picture. That's what I love to see.
Absolutely. He has got an amazing story.
Yeah.
So, Rod, I know you're a huge golf fan, but have you been watching any basketball things just started up yesterday?
I have to admit, no, but I will be watching, but I'm going to watch the Blazer games. And a reminder to Blazer fans, you know what's unique about this? Drew, aren't I correct when I say this will be the first game of the entire season that we're going to have all 5 of our normal starters on the floor?
Well,
isn't that right?
You know,
Drew?
I will say this. I don't think Rodney Hood is available now, right? I don't think... I often call Rodney Hill right? Rodney Hood. But what is definitely the truth...
Nurk is back and Collins is back.
Nurk hasn't played at all this year. Zach Collins played maybe the first 2 or 3 games before he was injured this season. Okay. So, and I asked Brooke Olzendam, courtside reporter, yesterday, is there a scenario where we could see Yusuf Nurkic, the big guy, and Zach Collins, another big guy, and Hassan Whiteside, a third big guy, on the court at the same time? Could the Blazers dial up a lineup with all 3 of those bigs in at the same time? And she said, that's something that the broadcasters have actually talked about amongst themselves because, if nothing else, they'd like to see what it at least looks like. That would be a very long and tall lineup. But there we have Nurk back in action. So I think the Blazers are definitely going to make noise with the return of those players. They had the time to heal. It's not the way we wanted them to have the time. But the bottom line is they got the time to heal, and they will be on the court today against Memphis. And Memphis, who they're playing today, is the team that they're chasing right now to get that final playoff spot in the West. So a great game to start the restart.
We should mention, Drew and Rod, that our 3-on-3 Blazer podcast with Orlando Sanchez and the crew, they recorded a podcast about the Blazers, and you can catch that on kgw.com anytime. So that's a good thing to catch up on as well.
To include Rodney one more time, and we may make this a brief edition of Sunrise Extra because people have to get ready for the game today, right? They have to do some tailgating, I would think, in the safety of their home and backyard.
Whoa, it's never too early.
Rod, bigger picture, we said we would address this as well, bigger picture of simply playing sports right now in this country because Major League Baseball is back as of last Thursday, and that hasn't gone great so far. I mean, we love the cutouts of the fans.
No, do we? I don't like them.
You don't?
I think that is so dumb.
Cheesy, Brenda, perhaps?
I get a kick out of it.
I don't get it.
I like it.
No.
Well,
I like it.
Those are real people, Brenda. So I think the teams opened it up to their fan base and said, hey, if you would like to be a part of our action still, send us a picture of yourself and we'll make you into a cardboard cutout. So there is sort of like that fan connection still.
Okay.
Before
that
you poop all over the idea.
I'm still not a fan. I do kind of like what the NBA does, though. Don't they actually have like virtual? Or
I didn't know that.
Have you not seen that?
I haven't watched a single scrimmage game, if you will, of this restart.
Basketball has been on our TV nonstop since, they even got like preseason or whatever they've done before yesterday. So I kind of just, as I'm walking in and out of the living room, I see all these things. But I think the NBA has actual virtual fans.
Something to look for today at 1 p.m. when the Blazers play the Grizzlies. But Rod, what do you think? Baseball is back, and they've had some struggles right now because an entire team, the Miami Marlins, Florida, is suffering with the coronavirus right now. I believe 17 players and coaching staff members contracted the virus as of earlier this week. So they're struggling right now, but yet NBA, NHL, both making their returns this weekend. So what do you think, Rod?
Well, I think, the NBA is kind of the perfect setup, right? I mean, they're using the term the bubble. Everybody's in one city on that campus there in Orlando. in Disney World. So you would think that they should have the best chance to move forward without any growing coronavirus infections. But keep in mind, tomorrow's August 1st. You know who's going to be watching closely whatever baseball is played and basketball and hockey? The National Football League. Because from what I can tell, on our own network, NBC is already running promos. Starting in September, the National Football League. It just seems like they are going gangbusters ahead without fans, but gangbusters ahead and playing in their own arenas. So it's going to be interesting. But if I'm, the commissioner, Roger Goodell of the National Football League, I'm watching these other sports over the next 4 weeks very carefully. Because if something happens here, you would think that the NFL would have to rethink a little bit, wouldn't you?
Some of the experts in the health field have said, really, without the bubble situation, we really can't have the sports. They said Major League Baseball is doomed, is bound to fail because they don't have the bubble set up. Teams are still traveling city to city. But the NBA has their bubble in Orlando, and the NHL, they did it similarly, but not exactly the same. They have a bubble, I want to say in Toronto, and they have a bubble in Edmonton. So they have two bubbles. The Western team's playing on one side of Canada, the Eastern team's playing on the other, and so they are still quarantining their players to hopefully keep that season starting and ending the way they hope.
Okay, Drew, here, other people meeting your challenge to weigh in. Michael says basketball season should have ended months ago.
No, should have.
And then, talking about those bigs on the floor, whether that would ever be a lineup. Ryan weighs in again saying Whiteside, Nurk, Melo, CJ Dame, they will be the starters. And then Joshua Madrid, we chat with him occasionally.
Sure.
He says the National Women's Soccer League showed everybody how to bring sports back. They were the first domestic league back at it and just finished up their tournament with 0 COVID-19 cases within the bubble.
Who runs the world?
Women run the
are
world.
Smarter than men. That's not fair. Women are just smarter than men, right? Of course they figured it out. I acknowledge that.
Going back to viewer Ryan's comment, I don't know if he heard this information from Coach Stotts or he's just suggesting this should be the Blazers lineup today. But again, he's saying it should be Dame and CJ and Carmelo Anthony, who we all expect to be in the starting lineup, and then a combination of Hassan Whiteside and Yusuf Nurkic making up the front court. We'll see. 1 o'clock is the game time today. If you want to watch it locally, you can check it out on NBC Sports Northwest. If you don't have that channel on your TV guide, I know it's also being seen on NBA TV, if you have that. And then sometimes when you have neither, you can somehow manage to get it by streaming it. Offline.
Charlene Miller weighing in too. I'm hopeful our Blazers will play well. It's so fun to have live sports back.
The
I think we
distraction
can
is
all
nice.
agree on that, right?
The distraction is nice.
Yeah, it is.
As a Philadelphia Phillies baseball fan, I was so excited last weekend for the return of baseball. It just so happens that my team was playing that darn Miami Marlins and all of their COVID-19 cases. And now that Miami is being told, don't leave Philadelphia, don't go anywhere, and don't play any more baseball games. They basically shut that team down. But the Phillies, unfortunately, because they were the opponent, they've been shut down as well. So I've had no Phillies baseball to watch this week. They were testing the players for a few days in a row, just waiting to see what would happen. And finally, after 3 days of testing, I want to say, they did get 2 positive tests. It was a coaching staff member and a person that works inside the clubhouse of the team. And once that happened, baseball said, okay, you're shut down too right now.
Can't you just pick another team to root for?
No.
Why does it always have to be the Phillies?
Yeah, like the Cardinals.
46 years, Brenda.
The Cardinals.
46 years in the blood.
The
You
Cardinals.
can't take that out of the blood so easily.
It's got to be your number 2.
Willie Huey says, don't incriminate yourself, Mr. Drew. All right, we are going to wrap up this edition of Sunrise Extra. It is a Blazers basketball day. Our boys are back in action starting at 1 o'clock Pacific time in that NBA bubble in Orlando.
And one more plug. 3 on 3 Blazers podcast on KGW.com.
Nice.
Don't miss it.